Despite labor shortages and rising food costs, what if I told you there were many bright spots and reasons to be optimistic about running your restaurant in 2026 and beyond? In this episode, I sit down with Samir Zabaneh, the CEO of Touch Bistro, whose company serves over 16,000 restaurants worldwide. We break down the real data from the State of the Restaurant Industry Report, what resilient operators are doing differently, how AI is quietly transforming back of house efficiency, and why smart tech adoption is no longer an option. If you want to increase productivity, protect your margins, and future proof your restaurant in 2026 and beyond, this conversation is your roadmap. Samir, thanks for joining me on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you are a wealth of information because not only do you head one of the largest tech companies that has over 16,000 customers in multiple countries, you've got your finger on the pulse of restaurants and what's happening. So let's start by asking you, in these crazy times right now, are you seeing that operators overall are optimistic about the future with economic uncertainty and world events being what they are? What are you seeing out there?
From our perspective, first of all, we're happy that we're introducing our annual State of the Restaurant report, which is published, and that's a survey that we have with over 600 operators that tell us what they see that directly. We have our own view, but it's nothing like asking the operators themselves about how they feel about their industry and their businesses and in different locations. From the survey that we have seen, and also from what we see across our other operators, I look at the financial health of restaurants. Generally speaking, their gross profit margins have actually increased compared to last year. And that is, from a bottom line perspective, that's great news for all of us. The restaurants are, generally speaking, lower margin business. So when you see an increase of close to 100 basis points compared to last year, that is a remarkable accomplishment they have. And it talks about their innovation and the resiliency of operators across this industry. The other thing that I really like, their debt level has declined. Over the last several years, operators had to take debt to sustain their business and finance their growth. And for the first time this year, we've seen that debt levels have actually declined. So profit margins higher, debt level is lower. If you take these two factors alone, I would say the restaurant industry continues to be not just surviving, feeling really great and achieving good results.
Really solid information and very optimistic to think that, the worst is behind us. Obviously, the pandemic devastated much of the industry. Those restaurants that survived have been working on their business, trying to improve it. And yes, challenges remain, but to hear that profits are up and, productivity is important. We're going to talk a little bit more about that, but you mentioned a keyword, resilience. This is one of the most difficult businesses. And to think that no matter how badly you get beaten up, you just keep getting back in it, and really passion for what you do and why you're in this business is probably the driver of why you just keep on going. Let's talk about the other challenges, because labor shortages and high labor costs and raising prices and still maintaining guest value. I mean, these are pain points that are still existing. How, in your opinion, are the best operators solving what remains besides, the profitability question and the debt levels? Ajinomoto is your answer to every busy dinner rush spent deep in the weeds. When hungry customers walk through your door, they expect good food that tastes homemade. But making every dish from scratch cuts into your profit, especially with the cost of ingredients and labor. That's where Ajinomoto Foods comes in. Ajinomoto has a huge catalog of fast, easy to prep, frozen Asian products that taste and look homemade. That includes classics like fried rice, dumplings, and onion rings, and new trendy fusion plates like kimchi chicken pot stickers. Choosing Ajinomoto is choosing over 100 years of proven expertise in the food service space. Choose to save time and money in your busy kitchen without compromising on the quality your guests expect. Learn about Ajinomoto at ajinomotofoodservice.com.
Their profit has increased, notwithstanding rising food costs and notwithstanding rising labor costs. So when I talk about their success, it's despite an incredible amount of challenges that they continue to have even past the pandemic. The pandemic, as you mentioned, was devastating, but then operators needed to deal with rising food costs, very high inflation. If you recall, in 2021 and 2022, that resulted, and not until recently, inflation level began to decline and get to a level that maybe higher than the historical average, but acceptable. Labor shortages, and when there is labor, rising labor costs has been a very big challenge for them. So this is continues to be a really big challenge. And the way operators are dealing with it by being innovative on number one, using technology to help automate as much as possible inside the restaurants to deal with the labor shortages. AI, even about 91% of operators are excited about what AI is going to do for them. And that is an incredible great news because in any industry, any business owner or operator needs to think about how AI is going to help. In the restaurant business, that's very personal for operators to be excited about what AI could do is really excellent news. And that
That's
will be a game changer for them.
Yeah, game changer for sure. That is probably the hottest topic right now. But I know that there are savvy operators out there, every range of operator, of course, but there's still many operators that are somewhat skeptical or they're overwhelmed by all the AI that just
Yeah.
keeps coming all the time. What are you seeing being the key areas that restaurants are getting the most benefit from AI right now?
You've you mentioned a really important point. Not all operators are the same. Some are more savvy than others. Some are more able to or open to adopt cutting edge technology compared to others. The basic AI adoption that I could see them using is an AI enabled answering service where you don't have to have somebody waiting by the line, other waiting by the phone and pay for the employee to do this, or to actually take orders and don't miss calls. Don't miss. So when people call and there's nobody answering, they call the next person. So that is, from my perspective, one of the most basic tools that is available today. It doesn't cost a lot. And the ROI on that investment is spectacular for those operators that use it. You can go all the way towards using AI to summarize and alert an operator when there is a positive review or a negative review. So you can respond to it quickly versus read all the reviews you get at the restaurants. Back of the house, and there's an amazing adoption of AI that you could see. And that is enable alerting operators about potential spoilage in the inventory. That is a big cost for them and continues to happen. And AI platform that matches the level of labor and the inventory compared to their revenue forecast. Historically, operators had to look backwards at the end of the month and look, oh, I had too high of a labor, I lost this much inventory, and I didn't sell much. This was always a sustained, this happened all the time. Today, they can get ahead of that. And that is where I think and it happens very quickly. The nice thing about it, Roger, is that it doesn't take the personal touch that operators love to do about the restaurant. This is not putting a machine to greet people when people come through the door. No, the operators are still doing what they love to do.
Waste reduction and efficiencies just came up. I always said that, running a restaurant is 1,000 details, and it seems like that never ends. I've always said that the 10 details you miss out of 1,000, it's like the guest always sees, even though you got 900 of those details correct. But efficiencies and waste reduction takes a little bit of time. You got to have a system in place, and now suddenly there's a tool that allows you to increase efficiency in your business. Let's talk about other pieces of tech stack. What mistakes are you seeing operators still making today with their tech stacks?
The biggest mistake is not using technology. And by the way, I still see operators that do not want to use technologies. But when they use the technology, they use it fragmented pieces of the technology. We believe at Touch Bistro having a platform with full integration across the multiple pieces of the platform is a very powerful tool because we can deliver all of the services they need. And of course, depending on the size of the operator and the complexity. For some of them, it works if they have different teams that manage different pieces of technologies. For some of them, that would work. But for within the SMB, having a platform that could deliver all of the solutions for you and have it fully integrated across each other puts that challenge on us to deliver the solutions they need to have and put the responsibilities on companies like us. We're not the only ones. Companies like us that gives them a simplified solution that they can adopt and use and not deal with a high level of complexity of multiple vendors and multiple operators and deal with, especially when it comes to data. Front of the house and the back of the house have to really speak well with each other. And I think that becomes absolutely important. So when you're dealing with with tools that are fully integrated together, it just makes things much easier for them.
Totally agree. Let's go back to the State of the Restaurants report. We talked about restaurants are not cutting back on labor, but they're getting more productivity out of the labor. They're not cutting staff. How are you seeing this happening? Because some operators are short-staffed, right? They can't afford to cut anyone they have. They're not hiring A players. They're getting anyone off the street they can. And then there's the savvy operators that have created a company culture and people stay and there's longevity and they don't want to cut hours. They want to increase productivity and make sure that every person is trained in hospitality, delivering experiences, because that's a marketing tool as well. What's key to productivity today?
I believe cross-training employees to do each
Training.
other's work. You can't take the work of the chef. Chef is a chef. I've seen it when they go to restaurants. Employees could do each other's work as by becoming cross-trained. I think that becomes absolutely helpful because if there is a surge in a certain area, other employees that do other work could come and actually help in this regard. So we've seen that becoming more of a theme. And for the employees, that's exciting for them because they're not doing the same thing every single day. They can learn about, and they become better trained. And this, of course, this is outside of the restaurant space. All of us want to be trained to do many other things and make our job more exciting. Same thing happens inside the restaurants. I find that to be an incredible way to attract and retain people and train them well. And they become sort of ambassadors of the culture that you're trying to build here. And finally, obviously, it's AI. I can't leave this statement without mentioning AI. Take away the mundane work that doesn't need to happen by human, like the answering service. This one, we can just check the box, let the machine do it. And today, there is a lot of great technologies that can enable the operator to monitor how people are feeling about the automated services. It's not set it up and hope it works. You could still monitor it and there's not much risk with it. And at the same time, you could, again, using AI to link the back of the house with the front of the house, provide prediction of inventory and labor. This all required people to do it. And so cross-training, utilizing technology is probably the best two approaches to become efficient without necessarily having to reduce the number of people.
Thanks for pointing that out. In my restaurants, we always cross-train the team. And like you said, it definitely increased satisfaction. It gave them different things to do, new skill sets. It also added to lower turnover, which was amazing. But a lot of operators think of things as, oh, that's extra labor cost, or I don't have time to do that. But if they had a mentoring and shadowing program where every week somebody learned something new, that's an investment. That's not a cost.
It's an investment. I agree with you. Yes.
And people really appreciated that. So I'm really glad that you touched on that. Cross-training is super important. What if your POS did more than ring up orders? What if it actually ran your restaurant? Touch Bistro is an all-in-one cloud-based POS and restaurant management system designed exclusively for restaurants. They help you run smarter, faster, and more profitably. Touch Bistro brings front of house, back of house, and guest engagement into one easy-to-use platform. From patented bill splitting and real-time inventory to labor, profit tracking, loyalty, online ordering, and reservations. It's all connected. Touch Bistro is built for restaurants and built to perform. Check out touchbistro.com/Restaurant Rockstars. Now, my audience can get up to $6,500 US or $5,400 Canadian off your hardware. Terms and conditions apply. Speak to a Touch Bistro representative for details. Talk about Touch Bistro because it's such a robust platform. You consider it to be a all-in-one restaurant management platform. So did you start as a point of sale and you gradually added other features that really, drove bottom line results? And then after that, let's cover everything it does.
So yes, Touch Bistro started as a point of sale on an iPad. The company began in 2011. We believe it was one of the earlier, if not the earliest, mobile-based POS, just because the iPad came into existence before any durable Android device that was there. And then 5 years later, we started adding different value-added products based on customer demands and based on the whole thesis of continue to drive more solutions for them so we can deliver a whole platform for them. We added reservations. We have a great reservation tool. Many of our customers use it to make a reservation. It links directly to the POS. We could table management and being able to change. You can see it on the dashboard we introduced during the pandemic online ordering. And online ordering right now has a very high attach rate with our platform because it's also integrated into the POS. It's the same menu. You could change the menu in any way you want for online ordering and for the reservation. Again, you're dealing with the same company that manages that menu for you. We introduced payments processing. Obviously, in the restaurants, payment processing is absolutely important. And when the company first started, it had multiple integrations, but we did not control the payments experience. We believe if we're going to put our name on it, we have to control the experience. The check-in and the checkout at the restaurant, as you know yourself, Roger, as a restaurant operator, checkout is very important because that's a lasting impression guests have about that restaurant. You can have a great meal. I think of restaurants as an experience, not a product. And the experience has to come satisfaction with the food, the services, the checkout on the payment side. That becomes absolutely important. And we continue to evolve and make sure from the moment your first touch point with the restaurant until you check out has a consistent, phenomenal experience. That's what we focus on. Most recently, in the back of the house, we added an excellent inventory management and labor management. These are excellent tools that we have some enterprise customers that use it. And it's very intuitive and easy to use. And you could use it as far as recipe pricing if people want to use it. Not everybody gets into that level of depth, but certainly revenue tracking and being aware of when inventory is going to potentially come into spoilage time and you need to use it before it goes to waste. That's absolutely important. And there's a lot of innovative and automated tools right now for operators to board the inventory, scan the invoices, and make sure that the back of the house is as automated. So from the back of the house, we also introduce our own kitchen display with a partner. We have gift and loyalty, which is very popular with our business. We have marketing tool. We enable our customers to engage with their guests through text, through emails, and we give them a lot of reporting with respect to the guests that they have. It's important for operators to get to know who the guests are and what their preferences are, because it is a personal business. And the more we give them insights, the better. And by the way, this is an ongoing process. Every day we think of new things that we need to do, especially when it comes to the reporting. Because also more recently, we started moving up market and signing larger venues and larger multi-location customers. And in this case, they wanted to create their own reports and play with the data that we make available for them. So with our company, an SMB or a mid-market restaurants can have all the tools that they need on one single platform. And we're responsible for integrating the components together. And it's a single invoice and it's a single monthly statement. And we're responsible for making sure all these things come together. This is our solution. And thus we think for a certain segment of the market, this is more appealing than point solutions coming from different vendors based on what they like. There are certain, I'm assuming if you go to the enterprise side, there may be some point solution preferences, payment processing with one company, POS different company. But for us, for our target markets, we believe we have the right solutions all coming together as one platform.
Dive into online ordering a bit because that became absolutely essential during and after the pandemic, of course. And there were some controversial topics like not owning the data, and third-party delivery platforms literally kept all that information, so restaurants couldn't use that data to market to their customers. That's changed somewhat. But then there's also the complaints about the high fees that the third-party platforms would take. What are you seeing lately on the landscape with online ordering? And is it a much smoother, more seamless, more profitable for the operator? You can't do without it. Has it changed that much?
I think online ordering has settled now. There was a time where it was a far bigger part of the restaurant's revenue, especially during the pandemic. And that has resulted in exponential growth with third-party apps like the Uber Eats and the DoorDash, and also created multiple integration platform that brings all of these components together to integrate with the POS. We like our solution because it is integrated into the POS. And if a restaurant is able to attract guests to use the solutions, they don't have to pay a commission of between 20 and 30%. It protects their brands. And much more important for me personally, Roger, than anything else, anything you realize, They know who's ordering the food. They know the consumer. And that is, to me, if I'm an operator creating a meal for somebody I do not know, is it just came through a third-party app, it takes away from that personal part of the business. I'm just a kitchen creating a meal for somebody I don't know who that person is. I want to know my guests. That's the most, yes, it saves them money, and it's a highly excellent tools. People use it all the time. Like I mentioned, we have a very high attach rate of our online ordering. And I'm proud of our restaurant customers because they believe in their brand. They believe they could attract their own guests. They just need the tools to make it easy for them to use it. But I also think they want to know who the guests are, and hopefully also save 20 or 30%. With if we talk about the margins in a restaurant being right now 10.5%, when you're paying 20% commission on the revenue, will likely lost money on that order. But I do think consumers have become used to using the third-party app to use. So there's a place in that ecosystem for third-party apps to use. Thankfully, it has come to a level right now where it's stable. It takes certain capacity of the kitchen and maybe to keep the lights on, and everything else the restaurant does becomes just more higher margins for them. I also like the idea that when the kitchen is busy, because there's a lot of in-venue guests, they can stop the third-party app ordering, and that is something, it's totally their choice to do. And so they become better at dealing with the third-party apps. I think third-party apps, they have a place in this industry. Consumers like to use it. It's easy. You sit in your living room and the food is delivered to you. I can't argue with that. There's a good place for them. But we also need to make sure that restaurant operators are still delivering that personal service to the people they want to deliver that service, whether online or in the venue, and keeping as much of the margins as possible.
Yes, that's a key point, and it's a competitive advantage, one, to offer convenience and efficiency to your guests. It's a competitive advantage to build their loyalty. And I often think about the lifetime value of a customer, because if you provide a great product and great service and they get really, used to using that service and they really like the people that they're interacting with, then it's a win-win. They're going to keep coming back to you. They're going to keep spending. But it's also about not having technology replace that personal touch that you talked about, because that's the foundation of our business. That's hospitality. So if you can use the technology to enhance hospitality that you deliver, that's the win-win right there.
Yes.
Let me ask you about inventory, because years ago, all right, we tried an inventory platform and it was very disappointing. It was onerous to onboard. It took weeks and weeks. Customer support wasn't there. And then the accuracy wasn't quite there. So inventory software has come a long ways. Can you give us sort of a walkthrough of how Touch Bistro inventory works and how quickly you can get up to speed with it and the accuracy of the reporting and the food cost that comes out of that? That would be really helpful. Smithfield Culinary is committed to offering your restaurant the perfect protein for every dish at every day part. They know that to meat lovers, a great serving of their favorite cut is more than just food, it's an experience. Take Smithfield's new ready-to-eat select bacon, where chefs won't leave a mess and your guests won't leave a trace, or their new ground chorizo that lets you serve up tasty smoky heat. Turn to Smithfield for the broadest portfolio of pork, such as bacon, ham, sausage, and more. When you partner with Smithfield, you serve what you love, and your guests will love what you serve. I taste Smithfield products at many restaurant shows, and they're always delicious. To order or more information, go to smithfieldculinary.com/Smithfield.
I wish I could give you a products demo because there's nothing like showing it on a products demo, and we should book it out for that. But our inventory management is used by customers of all sizes, but also highly sophisticated enterprise customers. And so that's a testament for the product that we have. It's highly informative, easy to board. Once you set it up, it's the scanning capabilities and the ability to track for it is so much easier. The dashboard is highly intuitive. Boarding the inventory, when the inventory arrives and scanning and putting it into the system, that's easier than it used to be before, using scanning tools and codes and QR codes. But tracking it and being able to provide the alerts for the operator to use it, and the dashboard itself, how intuitive it is, really what makes it very powerful to us. Integrated into our POS, you could access that dashboard from the face of our POS itself. What you don't want to do is have the operators log out from one screen, go to another screen, and to a third screen to track different things. That's why we like the platform, is that you can see everything from a single dashboard. And that is the beauty of having that platform. In terms of other tools we have in the inventory, maybe I'll mention, we did win Vendor of the Year with our labor management and inventory management for one of the large enterprise customers. So that to me is a testament of, and that's a highly demanding customer. That to me is a high testament for the product we have. But it has a lot of excellent reporting, dashboards, graphs, in whichever way operators want to consume that data. We've created a lot of reports as part of that. So we make it really intuitive and easy for them to see where things are, give them alerts if they don't want to check the dashboard all the time. So once it's set up, it's really easy for customers to use.
Reservations. Can you give us a little bit more information there? Because most restaurants, of course, take reservations.
Reservation, the nice thing about it, it's branded with a restaurant. They can keep their brand when a customer is making that reservation. That's one of the big asks we had
Like
from
that.
our operators. They want to keep the brand themselves. They don't want any other brand. Same color, same things, and whatever the way they want. It
Very
is,
important.
we charge for that a SaaS fee and not on a per user fee. And that is also another important piece. Many of the other popular reservation system, they take it on a per user fee. And that becomes just overly expensive. Every time somebody makes a reservation, you take the SaaS fee plus. And the SaaS fee itself the SaaS fee is, we put it at a price where it's not expensive to have, and it's an additive to what we offer as part of the platform. And in and of itself is not like meant to be a big driver of profitability for us. This is a tool for restaurants to have that it should not cost them a lot. It should be something that that their guests can use easily to make reservation, get alert and get reminders of the reservation, easy to adjust it without having to call that restaurant. So this is what we created, a tool that may not have all of the bells and whistles like some of the other just focused reservations company, which I can't think of anything other than the credit card maybe on it. But for us, we created a tool that is easy to use, not that expensive. And we have a fairly good attach rate from restaurant operators that they believe in their presence online. They believe that they can be found by their guests without having to rely on third-party brands. And they wanted just a tool for guests to make a reservation and to be reminded the day before. And as often as an operator wants to remind the guest that you have a reservation for 2 people at 6:00. And I think it's a great tool. It works exceptionally well. And the people that use it, they usually just keep using it.
Let's talk about the ease of onboarding. Imagine one of my listeners, myself included, wants to get more information. So you mentioned a demo, of course, and I'm going to put the URL for people to go to in our show notes so they can get the demo. But let's talk about the client journey. Okay, I'm interested. I contact Touch Bistro. I see the demo. I like what I see. What are the next steps? Is there a dedicated customer success officer that works with me?
100%. We call it white glove service. And everybody gets that. You don't have to have a minimum size. Everybody, if you're going to be a customer of Touch Bistro, we want the customers to be well trained on the product, empowered to use it. So the investment we make upfront is really important to make sure they understand the features of the product beyond the product's demo they saw during the sales process. So we have a dedicated implementation consultant that takes them through the journey from the time the customer signs the contract all the way until we become convinced that the customer is using the product well and is active. And then we keep monitoring after that on a periodic basis. So just closing the sales, onboarding them is not enough. We stay engaged, monitor the actual transaction, how many transactions they made. Are they using the software? Are they using the online ordering? Are they using the reservation system? And we go back to them to make sure, we notice you haven't used that online ordering. Anything we can help you with? So we are monitoring to make sure they're using it. So the implementation consultant stays all throughout. We have dedicated training people. We have videos that people can use on their own, but we also offer live training for our customers. And the reason why we offer live training is we do know that restaurant operators are busy. And if you send them the videos, there's a good percentage you and I can agree on that are not going to watch the video. We're going to learn it on the fly. We don't believe that's the right solution. We are dedicating time for you, our customer operator, so we can walk you through all the things that you need to know about this. We like to set up the menu ourselves. As I'm sure as an operator, menus are the heart of the restaurant. And if they're set up in a way that should not be set up, it can create a lot of complications. So we have our own team. We actually use AI to make it much more efficient and speed up the process of boarding the customers. But we want to make sure the menu is set up well, and we give the operator many chances to adjust it and change it until they're 100% satisfied that this is the menu they want to print, they want to put online, or they want to use at the POS system. And so that's the setup for us. We also believe that networking inside the restaurant is absolutely important. The printers, where are they set up? The kitchen displays, how many iPads they need, what sort of network they have, access points to make sure if the iPad goes out in the patio, it's still connected with the hub. So we have network people that take draws of the restaurants if we're not there physically and make sure that they have the right setup. So it is an incredible amount of professional service at the beginning between menu, training, network, and the professional services to make sure that they are implemented. And as I mentioned, once everything is set up and we believe the customer is live, we monitor the transactions and the activities across all of the tools. And we have certain metrics that we track. Once we get satisfied that there's enough activities and they're using it well, we stop bothering them. We let them use the software, but we keep checking with them every once in a while through our ongoing funnels.
That's white glove service for sure. You may have mentioned this and I might have missed it, but is this an all-inclusive platform or is it an a la carte for certain features? Do you offer different packages? How does that work?
Excellent question. POS and payments. We believe these two things have to go together just from the complexity of the integration. And then after that, restaurant operators could add reservation, online ordering, inventory management, labor management. It is all on an a la carte basis. We believe there are certain segments of the restaurants we could give them a bundle that actually becomes more economical for them. And we believe, for instance, a single location, full service restaurant with 30 seats could use a POS, payments, and online ordering. We create that bundle for them. And that includes all of the hardware, printers, cash drawer. I still mentioned cash drawer. Sometimes
Yes.
kitchen display, depending on the size of the restaurant. So we can make that decision easy for them because we've seen enough examples of restaurants starting with the POS and payments, but then coming back. So, well, now I need the kitchen display. I'd like online ordering. It is absolutely their choice, but we create packages for them to make the decision easier and call it bundle one, bundle two, depending on their size. We would recommend that to them. So we've seen so many operators needing this solution for the size of restaurants you have or you want to have. That's what we recommend. We have a philosophy. We do not sell things that we don't believe the customer needs. That's not a good experience. We believe, but we have good views of what we think they believe. And we become thought leaders for them to say, based on our experience, these are good things for you. And here's how you can use them. So we become part of their business with them. Like we want to think about it with them versus just we're thinking about it from our own top line.
You really understand restaurants. After working with so many customers, you're not just a tech company with a bunch of engineers creating products. They're actually proven and tried and tested in so many restaurants, and the service that you're providing sounds amazing. So I'm glad you shared that.
If I may mention, we have a very high percentage of our employees actually worked at restaurants. And many of them have used the product and they liked it. And I was like, I want to get into tech sales. I want to get into tech support. I'm going to apply for this company. And it's amazing. And this is all we do, just restaurant technology. We wake up every morning and we go to bed thinking about restaurants. We don't try to do retail or other services. Restaurants are complex, as I'm sure. There's a lot of work to be done. And from a product perspective, we can spend the next 5 years still developing and innovating and thinking about things to help our restaurant operators. And we are proud that we are there for our customers, and we're enjoying that journey with them.
Yeah, as an operator, you really put your trust in those that understand your business and you feel a certain comfort level there versus just untried, unproven technology where, oh, that sounds good. I'm going to try that and it doesn't work out. But sure, it's proven and the people. I'm glad you shared that because, again, the comfort level is very important, especially when you're adopting something new and you really want to get the most out of it. You want it to work. You don't want it to have any bugs in it. And you want a dedicated person, like you said, that gives you the white glove service. One last question for you, Samir. Let's
Sure.
go back to the State of the Restaurant Report really quickly. What's your best advice for the rest of the year to operators that are listening to this show?
They are absolutely unique, great people. Just keep up that good work. They are inspiring us.
You just described our audience, Samir. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Passionate, resilient people that really care about hospitality, care about operating their business, running a business, not necessarily a restaurant. And you shared so many nuggets of information. And besides the demo, you're also offering a special deal to US and Canadian customers, and there's more information in our show notes on that. Samir,
Good.
thanks for joining us on the show.
Likewise. Thank you for having me. Take care.
That was the Restaurant Rockstars podcast. As you know, we can't wait to see you in the next episode. Thanks for listening. Thanks to our sponsors this week, and I will see you then. Can't wait. Restaurant owners and general managers, listen up. Your biggest challenges are labor and shrinking margins. Both kill your profit. I help restaurants find and fix those leaks. Last year, I uncovered over $300,000 in lost profit in 2 independent restaurants and $885,000 in a 5-location pizza chain. I specialize in controlling costs to maximize profit, training managers to become leaders, training front of house staff to sell, and marketing that drives trackable, new, and repeat business. If you want more profit, less hours, and a dream team staff in your restaurant, book a free 30-minute profit strategy session with me. Email roger@restaurantrockstars.com. That's ROGER @restaurantrockstars.com.